In this lesson, we're going to talk about arithmetic explicit sequences. Remember, arithmetic sequences are ones that have an adding pattern. Explicit formulas are just a different way to represent the sequences. We've been talking about recursive formulas, ones that are used to determine the next term of a sequence by the preceding term. We use the one before or the old term to get the new term. You also must give the first term so we know where the sequence started. Recursive and explicit are different in that when you're doing a recursive formula, you give the first term, but when you have an explicit, you do not. The explicit also does not rely on the term before. I do not need to know anything about the term before to get a term in an explicit sequence. Explicit formula uses the number of a term in a sequence to determine the value of the term of the sequence. Explicit formulas can calculate any term without needing other term values. So unlike recursive, I do not need to know the term before to find a term in an explicit sequence. So for example, if I know I want the fifth term of a sequence, I'm going to use that number 5 to find the answer. I don't care what the fourth term was. I can just use 5 to get the answer. So let's take a look at what an explicit formula looks like. The explicit definition of arithmetic sequences is shown here. It says a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Now, let's figure out what each of these things is talking about here. You should be able to tell me what d is. What is the d value? D is your common difference, just like it was before. So it's the adding or the subtracting pattern that you find in the sequence. You also should know what a sub 1 is. What's a sub 1? A sub 1 is your starting value, the first term of the sequence. Think back to the first day of sequences. N stands for the term number, the term's location in the sequence. So if I have a sub 5, that's the fifth term in the sequence, where n is equal to 5. So n is term number. The last part, a sub n, stands for the nth term in the sequence. When you're given a problem, this is what tells you what term of that sequence you want to find. Pause if you didn't get all the notes. The important thing here is that you know that the only two pieces of information that we're going to put a number in for when we write the explicit definition is a sub 1 and d. The a sub n and the n minus 1 stay as they are.
Created using Powtoon.